Hello, my creative friend, Olga Sobi here, and welcome to New Fluid Art creation process. Well, this is gonna be an unusual one because I'm not in my art studio today. And where am I? Right now, I am in Kelowna. It's a beautiful city on Okanagan Lake in Canada. This city is known for many different things, and one of its biggest treasures is, of course, its vineyards. Oh my God, they have so many and they are so beautiful. And we have been exploring some of them, and I am just in love with this beauty and the colors and how this vineyards stretch in a distance, and the colors of the juicy fresh greens and some of the deeper greens and the earthy tones of the soil, and all of that with the shimmery blue in the background and wrapped around in warm sunshine. You can tell I have been exploring a lot and I have been really enjoying these colors. And as much as I enjoy being here and just enjoying all of this beauty and all of the sightseeing, I feel so inspired and my hands are itchy to paint. And I just want to pick it all up, all these colors, all this texture, all this beauty, pick it up and pour it on the canvas to try and recreate as much of this beauty as possible. And I just wish I can teleport to my art studio and paint. Well, with the magic of YouTube, I can do just that. So let's travel with me. Let's go. And I am back in my studio. So I have all of my colors ready that I'm going to be using for this painting. I have my canvas ready, but that's not quite the right outfit for painting. Well, that's better. Let's get started. Okay, my canvas is ready, and for this painting I want to create a very soft, slightly multicolored background, and then on top of it I want to create a few leaves on the vine, and then in the next stage of the painting I want to add the grapes. So this painting, like pretty much all of my artworks, is going to be very multi-step, multi-layer. And you know what, when I was planning this artwork, when I was mixing the colors to really match the colors that I saw in Kelowna on the vineyards, I came to realize that this painting for me, it's not just about what I want to paint, but about how I want this painting to feel. And I want to really capture that day, the sun, all the air, the softness, the peacefulness, the joy. So it's gonna be a bit of a challenge, of course, to really bring those feelings into this painting, but I'm gonna do my best. So I want to start with preparing colors for the base. So I want to do a dirty pour for my base. I'm gonna pour it all out first, and this one is a creamy color. I want to use it to bring the softness and lightness. Now let's add a little bit of sunshine. And I'm pouring right in, I'm not layering those colors. Next, I want to add a little bit of greenery. The main green will be in the leaves, but I want to add a bit of reflection of those leaves inside of my base. And now let's add some of those earthy tone. That's what this ochre color is for. I like this color actually. It's deeper, but yet very warm and bright. Top it up with a little bit more softness of my off color. And what I want to do, I want to help those colors blend in, so I'm literally gonna mix them inside a little bit. Ready to pour it now. And as you might know, I have an acrylic pouring calculator. It's a free tool where you enter the size of your canvas, like a 30 by 40 inch, for instance, for this one. And it gives you the amount of paint that you need to cover your size of the canvas. It's free, it's available on my website. The link will be just down below. Check it out. But let's add that secret message first. Tranquil is a secret message here, and let's pour out that base. I just really love using dirty pour technique for creating these soft, multicolor backgrounds, and as I stretch the colors and tilt my canvas, it really shapes up and those colors really blend together. No, I almost wish I had more of this one. I feel like I wanna Maybe just add a little bit here, more of that base color. I do think more of it will show through once I start tilting. This is a pretty good start. I created some of those ribbons, we'll do some of the vines in the background. Let's tilt it out. And for a technique like this, where a lot of tilting is involved, the consistency of your paint makes a huge of a difference on how the colors will behave on a canvas. And if you ever wonder what is the best consistency for which technique, or how to test your consistency, how to tell which one is thin, medium, or thick, I invite you to check out my consistency cheat sheet. Check it out, it's free. The link will be in the description below this video. This tape dome really helps to not waste too much paint and tilting a lot, you know, when you need to cover your canvas. But now that the whole canvas is covered, I can remove the tape and I can tilt a bit more intentionally to stretch out certain parts of the canvas that I really like, or tilt off some of the areas that I don't like. For example, I kind of want to bring this part all the way here. I do love this a lot now, but it feels like this should be the bottom, this should be the top. Yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna do. Continue tilting because I know exactly what is going to be the layout for my composition, and I want to make sure that the background is going to work with it, not against it. And I also really like this element, sort of like a pop of sunshine, and I want to keep it. Okay, perfect. So I'm going to turn it this way because this is going to be the orientation and it's kind of more convenient for me to work this way. So now I want to work on the leaves. You know, it's always a balance between control and spontaneity of the fluid paint. And that balance is what makes the process of fluid art so rewarding for me every single time. The overall shape is done, and now I want to work on my leaves. I'm shaping their edges with mini finger swipes, giving them sharper, pointier tips so they feel more like real grape leaves. Yet I still want them to flow with the organic shapes and movement of the fluid paint that I created with the blowouts. So I go over all 3 leaves one by one while the paint is still fresh and fluid, making sure they have a bit more structure without losing that softness and fluidity. And I speed it up for the video, but it's quite a process, I can tell you that. Very slow but efficient, very thorough, and definitely very intentional. I want to be super intentional with where I add those edges or any more details to the leaves. Next come the veins of the leaves, and it's such a small detail, but they really bring the structure to life. And I use palette knife here, not my fingers, because with this knife it really lets me to pull out those delicate fine lines without overworking the elements inside of the leaf, because I really want to keep as much of that fluidity as possible. And every stroke matters, so I try to work very efficiently again before my fluid paint starts to set. And my leaves are done. That was quite a process. I did the blowouts, then I did all these pointy edges to the leaves and of course the elements inside. And I can see that there are many areas, like for example right here or even like here, where I would need to do some touch up with a brush just to make them a little sharper. And there are a couple sections where it was a bit challenging for me because this is the kind of leaf that I'm doing for the first time. But I'm very happy. I think I definitely captured the overall shape, the overall color, and the overall vibe of how that looked. And now I want to add a bit of a stem of the wine plant. I don't know if it's called stem, but you'll see what I mean. And yeah, so this is gonna be the next stage. Oh, this is coming together. I want to add a little bit of brown, but not like super dark brown. So right on my table, I'm gonna mix it with ochre color. Yeah, something like this. I'm trying to do right now is just to create the overall shape. But the details and a bit more of a color definition I will add once dry. There will also be a part where my grapes are gonna be hanging. I love how this looks so far. Okay, so what I think I'm gonna do now is let it dry, and I wanna touch up my sides right away on those areas where I didn't have a good coverage. And once this first stage is dry, once the fluid paint is dry, I will add those grapes. So see you in a moment for the stage number 2. Okay, the fluid paint is fully dry and now the real challenge begins, the grapes. I have a plan here. I'm going to work in layers and this part is going to be very meticulous, maybe even the most intricate stage of the whole artwork, but I think it's also going to be one of the most fun. And I use a round sponge brush, and sometimes it's called stippler, to create the first layer of the grapes, and I choose a very deep, sort of darker violet for this foundation, and I think it sets the tone and creates the shadowed background of the bunch and all the grapes that I'm gonna be adding later on. After the first layer is fully dried, I move on to the second layer. So I told you it's gonna be many layers working on this part. Now I use 2 different shades of violet and purple. They're still rich but slightly lighter, and working with more than one color helps to build that dimension in volume in the grapes. And I dab gently with this sponge or stippler, rotating it just a little, and already I can see the grapes starting to feel much more three-dimensional. Even with this small step, it starts to come together. And I think you can see where I'm going with this. I'm working with the same fluid paint, the same fluid consistency that for my regular fluid painting. So the sponge creates a little bit of bubbles in that fluid paint, but that's no problem. I just torch them away and keep on going with my grapes. It is time for the third layer. And the first 2 are completely dry, so I really let them dry in between so that they don't smudge together. And that's when the grapes really begin to shine. I switch again to even little warmer and lighter tones of my violet and purple. And for this layer, I also want to add some highlights with a little bit of white, giving them more ripe look and adding even more volume with those highlights. So that's the stage where I really start to build up that volume. And I think this is when the painting begins to feel much more alive. I just love seeing how it comes together. The sponge brush is surprisingly perfect for this process. And I continue like this, gradually building the volume until the grapes have that richness and fullness that I want to achieve. And by the way, I step back very often to look from the distance, to look at the flow and the overall composition, and I continue adding more depth only where I feel like it's still needed. The process is not fast, but I find something very meditative about it. Layer by layer, grape by grape, a bunch really comes together. Once the grapes feel more complete, I return to the leaves and sharpen the edges and deepen the contrast, and I really want to refine some of the structure so they stand strong next to my grapes, because this grape branch, it's very contrasty and it's very rich, and I want my leaves of the grape vine to feel the same, to have the same kind of energy, so they really work together in this painting. And now I want to add a bit more details and elements to the whole composition, with a few more highlights here and there, and of course tendrils. Those are super playful and fun to add. The whole painting truly comes together. It feels like these final adjustments just bring the composition into balance, and it just brings it home. I love adding those details. As always, for my touch-ups, when I use a brush to correct any shapes or add any more details, I'm using the same exact colors as I used for the fluid painting itself, and those are fluid colors of the same thin consistency. Finally, after many weeks of work, I step back and I see the whole painting in front of me, and I feel like it is done and I'm ready to put my name in it. So it's my favorite finishing step, signing the artwork and saying it is done. It always feels so special. Alright, my creative friend, here is the final result. This painting was inspired by my recent exploration of Kelowna, and I'm proud to say that I'm very happy with how it turned out. To me, it feels like a memory, not just a vineyard themselves, but the joy of discovery, the sunshine, the colors, and really just letting the place guide my creativity. The colors is what I love the most here, just this strong and vibrant contrast between deeper violets and those glowing, lighter, juicy greens, and all the highlights and a bit of yellow in the background. I do hope that you have enjoyed this journey and were able to dive into the beauty of vineyards together with me. And the best part is that this is just the first chapter. So I'm planning the whole series. It's going to be 3 paintings in the Kelowna Nature Inspired series. This is number 1, and I am already working on a second one. It's much more dramatic, it's much more dynamic, and I just can't wait for you to see it. So I will share it with you in the next video. Stay tuned for that. And by the way, if you would like to learn about some of the new prints that I'm planning for my artworks, I invite you to join the newsletter on my website olgasobit.com, where I will share all the details and the announcements about the new drops of prints. So if you're interested, definitely check it out. I will keep you updated. I have something very exciting in the works. And please do let me know, what do you think about this painting? What do you think about my outcome? This was a very different project for me. I really enjoyed it, and I hope you enjoyed this journey with me as well. Let me know what you think. I will chat with you in the comments below this video, and I will see you in the next one. Take care and create with passion. Bye bye.